Max Verstappen rocketed around Palermo before his big crash at Monza, while Sebastian Vettel is yet to confirm 2022 plans. You can now watch full 24-minute episodes of The Inside Line at our official home on unbeaten.com. Max Verstappen walked away from a horrifying crash in Monza, but things were far easier earlier in the week, with Red Bull doing a special show run in Palermo with the 2011 title-winning RB7. Verstappen ripped through the streets of Sicily's capital, starting with the market laneways, before hitting the Via Vittorio Emanuele that cuts right through the historic center. The Dutchman stopped for some donuts in the town's stunning Quattro Canti Square, before heading down to Porta Felice and the Foro Italico Promenade to reach Mondello Beach, where he drove straight onto a boat for a quick break before Monza. But speaking behind the scenes, Verstappen said completing the Italian demonstration was not as easy as it looked.
Doing a show run on a street or basically in a city is very different. It's very bumpy, you don't have a lot of space. Basically F1 cars are not made for that. So yeah, you have to focus a lot, but in a way it's a different challenge and it's a lot of fun.
Sebastian Vettel is not worried about his future with Aston Martin, despite the German yet to re-sign with the squad for 2022. The four-time F1 world champion originally agreed on a deal with Aston Martin for 2021 and beyond, but still has to negotiate and agree terms for 2022, which Vettel says is just a matter of time. "I'm talking to the team, obviously, and I think we'll have an answer very soon," he said. But at this point, no news. Vettel scored a podium with second in Azerbaijan and would have backed it up in Hungary had he not been disqualified, after the FIA was unable to extract the mandatory 1 liter of fuel during post-race checks. He's neck and neck with teammate Lance Stroll, son of Aston Martin team owner Lawrence, in stats, 7-7 in qualifying and 6-6 in races when they could be compared. But Vettel has 11 more points. Aston Martin ran a special livery in Monza, celebrating the release of the new James Bond film, No Time to Die, while Alfa Romeo Racing ran an Italian flag-inspired look, featuring quadrifolio green. Williams surprised the F1 paddock last week, inking Alex Albon for 2022 alongside Nicholas Latifi, with Red Bull releasing the Anglo-Thai racer but retaining future options on him. Albon has been on the sidelines as Red Bull's test and reserve racer this year, a role he's dovetailed with a DTM drive. But the 25-year-old thinks the challenge of F1's new era cars will help him.
With winter testing being so short as well, it will be a bit of a get into it quick and try to adapt. But that's also why the new regulations are in your favour, because it's everyone has to adapt.
Albon has bought into the vision of the team presented to him by its CEO Jost Capito, but knows he'll have to fight hard for every inch of progress.
In the mix of the midfield, it does mean you have to get your elbows out a little bit. It's something I'm known for. Hopefully I can bring that to the table.
Staying with Williams, where CEO Jost Capito hopes George Russell will one day return to win the World Championship for Grove. Russell was announced last week as a Mercedes driver for 2022, which was expected with the Brits' momentum unignorable, and Valtteri Bottas largely underperforming at the Silver Arrows. But while Capito knew that he couldn't stand in Russell's way, he hopes that a return is on the cards down the road.
As much we supported him to get the Mercedes contract and can go to Mercedes. He's at a time of his career where he's ready to do so, and he absolutely deserves to be in a car that is capable of winning the championship. And I'm convinced he will come back to Williams and win the championship with us in the future.
Capito also cheekily hinted at the reasoning behind Albon's recruitment, though pointed to his pairing with incumbent Nicholas Latifi as a perfect combination of youth and experience.
Alex is also quite a good friend of George. So I think with that we keep George also a bit in the family. We're really excited for these two drivers to join us for next year.
Haas boss Günther Steiner has ruled out cooling the battle between his drivers Mick Schumacher and Nikita Mazepin, despite continued fallout at 2 straight races in the Netherlands and Italy. Schumacher spoke out about his teammate after Zandvoort, stating that Mazepin wants to be ahead at all costs, with the Russian cutting across the sister Haas there, causing front wing damage, while he forced Schumacher into a spin at Monza at the second chicane. But Steiner says there is no point in stopping the squabbles.
Obviously, when you start 19 and 20s, who are you fighting with? With your teammate. There's nobody else to be fighting with. So I could theoretically say, yeah, stop it and just go in line and drive to the finish. But what do they learn then? At some stage, I mean, my thing is always you can fight, but fight fairly.
Alfa Romeo racing driver Antonio Giovinazzi has hailed his teammate, 2007 F1 world champion Kimi Räikkönen, in helping him to develop his racecraft as the ultimate benchmark. The Iceman will retire from F1 at the end of the season, but Giovinazzi, in a chat with Australian Grand Prix podcast In the Fast Lane, said he will always think of the Flying Finn fondly.
2019, when I knew that my teammate would be Kimi, I was really happy because the best teammate for me, a driver with a lot of experience, a world champion driver, so also with reference, fast driver for reference was really great. And to grow up like a driver for me was the best thing.
Giovinazzi, who was just 7 years old when Räikkönen made his F1 debut, also says there's a lot more to the Finn than fans see.
We have a really good relationship together. I can tell you Kimi is really funny, outside of the camera maybe, but inside of the track when the camera is not there, he's really funny and I really enjoy him.
Formula One's managing director of motorsports, Ross Brawn, says banked curves are here to stay, with the sport incorporating them into new tracks where possible to improve the racing. Zandvoort was upgraded ahead of the Dutch Grand Prix, with extreme banking added to turns 3 and 14. And Braun, speaking to the sports official podcast F1 Nation, says it provides multiple benefits.
It always helps to pick up the speed and also seems to give different options as to how you take those corners, which is great.
F1 has since incorporated banking not just in Abu Dhabi's refurbishment, but at the new Saudi Arabian track in Jeddah.
We've introduced it in Saudi, particularly when we do a new circuit. And those Saudi, to all intents and purposes, is a sort of street circuit because it's going to be utilising the Corniche in Jeddah. There's quite a lot of unique circuit being built to tie it all together. And there's a lovely bank corner at the end of the circuit, which that looks pretty impressive.
The sports power brokers are set for talks at next month's F1 Commission meeting about running young drivers during Friday free practice sessions next year to assist with their development. Currently, drivers have limited opportunities to test, with just 3 days allocated pre-season, along with private runs in 3-year-old cars and Pirelli tire testing on 2022 prototypes. But F1 wants to make it mandatory for the teams to test young drivers in Friday practice to help flush talent through. It would also give juniors the opportunity to try in a dynamic and competitive context. We are talking about it because it is important for the whole F1 supply chain, said F1 CEO Stefano Domenicali. Thanks for watching. To stay up to speed on all things Formula One, make sure you hit the subscribe button.